this is going to be a good race coming up. The American Iron Extreme. These are the big boys. These are the big daddies. We've been waiting all day to hear some American thunder, and this is going to be a good 40-minute race.
Yeah, and this is a class that's near and dear to my heart. It's one that was one of the very first race classes that I was involved with in NASA and helped develop. And I was their race director for, gosh, 06, 07, and 08. So it's a really fun group to work with. And hearing those big V8s thundering down the road, oof, very nice.
Yeah. Now, another car to watch for is the orange Mustang number 50. It's being driven by a guy who runs in the Grand Am Continental Challenge Series. His name is Dean Martin. He blew his motor in the Thursday qualifying race, so he settled. He was on the pole for Friday's race. Could have started from the pole, but he just told me at lunchtime that he wanted to go back to the back of the field to work his way, see what it'd be like to work his way through the field. So he is number 50 in the orange Mustang. There's a 2011 Mustang, so he's doing a little research, part of Verhagen Racing. They build Mustangs and also race in the Continental Challenge GS division of Grand Am.
Well, and you also see, that's called the Coyote motor. That's that new 5.0. And I guess they blew it up hard enough that they had a spare engine. That wasn't the problem. The engine blew hard enough that it actually just grenaded the steering rack. So they had to wait for a new steering rack to get in. And that's what moved Dean back. And then he had a strong finish yesterday in his qualifying race, but unfortunately there was a rules violation that then knocked that result back for him. So he's at the back of the AI field along with Dave Royce, who is another guy who has raced in Grand Am and other places. Dave is also our Great Lakes and Midwest regional director for NASA. So I expect those two guys will be freight training up to the front and try to catch Tommy Schlender and his Firebird.
So Dean, in his Mustang, he could say that he didn't retire for an engine problem. He retired because of a steering rack problem. One of the rods probably bent the steering rack as it exited the block. So he could say that it was a steering problem. It wasn't an engine problem.
Exactly. Combination steering and electrical problem. Now, an interesting story about our AIX field is it was pretty thin because we had some attrition and other things, but at the last minute, a bunch of fellows that were in the CMC2 and CMC class decided to supersize to AIX. Their cars are legal for it. They just took their restrictors out and decided to come join the fun and make the AIX field a little bit bigger.
The CMC is Camaro Mustang Challenge. This is the American Iron Extreme. Now, the fastest guy in this field by far, one of the faster, maybe one of the top 10 fastest guys this weekend, is that on the left of the screen at the front. That's Chris Griswold. Now watch him, get a side shot to watch him when they drop the green flag. He is going to explode out of this field. Watch him.
Say bye-bye. There goes the turbo. It's a turbocharged.
There he goes.
420, and I think he's actually burning the tires off it right now. It's a turbocharged 427-inch aluminum Ford V8.
He's already, look at the gap on the field. He's left them behind. That's turn one. That's the first turn, ladies and gentlemen, and he's already about 3 seconds ahead.
I can hear him chuckling from here.
Chris Griswold, a really nice guy. I talked to him at some length the other day, and he is a machinist, makes tractor parts in the Midwest. I think it's Wisconsin.
Wisconsin, G&V Machine.
And this is going to be the case where somebody has to really pay attention. Otherwise, you're going to lose concentration because he's not going to have any competition. The major competition that he had was the guys in the last 5-6 weeks have either backed the car into a wall or something, or blown the motor, or done a lot of damage, and they weren't able to show up this weekend. So by default, they didn't want him to get the national championship.
And here comes our AI field. We'll see how these guys start off. This is going to be a great first turn.
Now, this competition is going to be a lot closer than the AIX field.
Looks like Tommy Schlender may have gotten caught napping a little bit. Look at Dean Martin coming around the outside there. knifing through the field. That is awesome. Great start by Dean.
Yeah, those the orange cars are two Rehagen Racing cars. The number 50 is Dean Martin, and I don't know the number 59. I'm not sure who that is.
That is Dave Royce in Dean's other car. So the two Rehagen cars are charging to the front.
Yeah, they started at the back of the field. By the second turn, they were already third. You can see them moving up into the field.
And George Winkler is out front. Brian McMillan, Tommy Schlender. And then it looks like right behind them, I can't get a good visual on that car, but another one of the S197 chassis Mustangs. Oh, it looks like it's either Dean or Dave coming right in there.
We've already had Griswold, who is already about 7 seconds in front of the other real American Extreme car. That's Jim Panis. Really good guy. We had shared some laughs with him the other day.
And you'll see there's a number of other cars that are not Mustangs and Camaros and pony cars. Those are our Super Touring R1 and 2, which is just an evolution of the Super Touring class. So they're in there with those really fast Extreme Mustangs.
Now the American Iron and the American Iron Extreme, those are really fast cars. They're good race cars. They're probably equal to what the original Trans Am was in the early 70s, back when Parnelli Jones and Mark Donahue, they raced against each other. You can see one that's leaped off the track there in the King and got back on, but lost a couple of positions.
And last year, Dean Martin had a heartbreak wreck over on the King. He was leading the race, really driving hard, coming into the last lap, and he spun there, almost got Ross Murray, who was right behind him. Ross wanted to take the championship last year. Ross is still out there. He's not too far away. George Winkler, Brian McMillan out in front. There goes Dave Royce, Dean Martin, Mike Patterson. There's Tommy Schlender, Ross Murray, Landon Ball. Looks like John Wheeler, and I couldn't catch the other numbers as they went by, but they are having a great battle in AI.
Now again, Martin is a professional driver, does well, wins races in Continental Challenge, GS race against guys like Bill Oberlin, Borsed, Joey Hand, guys that run in the Rolex category and some of the highest classes of sports car racing. But he still had to qualify. He couldn't get just a pass to come to the NASA National Championships here. He still had to qualify. He had to run in 5 events, and he had to work those around his Grand Am schedule to get the points necessary to qualify to come here and run in the NASA National Championships.
Yeah, we want drivers to be out there supporting the local region, so we do require them to get 5 starts in with us. A lot of that is also just to make sure that they understand the system and the NASA rules, so when they get here to the big show that they're spooled up and ready to go. Looks like George Winkler may have gone off a little bit trying to stay ahead of Brian McMillan. Dean Martin is going to give Dave Royce a little heat, but I bet those guys are going to work together.
You think there's any team orders involved in that?
I don't know. I don't think there's team orders, but knowing Dave as well as I do, he's not going to roll over for anything.
This is a 40-minute race. We're on lap 2. The guy, Chris Griswold, our fast 180-mile-an-hour Mustang at the front of the line, he is, it shows he's 4 minutes. I think Jim Panis he's not showing up here. The American Iron Extreme, the only car that's showing up is
looks like
Chris
Jim
Griswold.
Panis is 9th overall, and he's still in there, but he's quite a bit slower than Chris. His car is nowhere near as radical as the Griswold Monster. Here comes our AI field coming out of release. George Winkler still ahead. Brian McMillan, there's those 2 Rehagen cars. And interestingly, we were joking around about it. We thought this might be the year that a Camaro, an F-body, or a Firebird would take the win, but it looks like the Mustangs are coming out and really dominating the front of the field right now.
American Iron, George Winkler, Brian McMillan, David Royce, and Dean Martin. They're all running within 2 seconds of each other. Martin's a little back. He's about 2 seconds a lap slower than Winkler. Maybe if he had a chance to get around David Royce, he could maybe make a charge at George Winkler, but if you can't pass the guy in front of you, forget the guy in first place.
Well, Dean might get the chrome horn there and let Dave know he's there and wants to come by, a little push to pass.
Yeah. There you go.
Now, it looks like also an interesting story in STR1. Evan Gardner, number 58, is driving a Mazda-powered tube frame car. So, again, there's another guy that might have a shot at some of the love from Mazda.
Would they give him? Would they? That's one of the RX-7s from Buttonwillow?
No, it's a different one. It's a custom built. A good friend of mine named Pablo Mobius built the car, and it's a silhouette kind of GT style car with a really, really nice, powerful rotary motor in it.
That's number 58. It's currently third on the track and second in the STR1 category, Evan Gardner. We're working on the third lap behind Chris Griswold. Griswold is clipping at 2 minutes a lap. He's maybe 2 seconds faster than everybody else on the track. 2 seconds faster than the guy in second place, Mark Alden, and Evan Gardner is running at 2:03.399 in third. But Chris Griswold right now, the race is between him and whatever's going on in his helmet.
Well, and Griswold is coming up on the American Iron Field to put a lap on them, so he got that accomplished pretty quickly. Looks like Brian McMillan got around George Winkler. There goes Dean Martin around Dave Royce. So we just saw a nice shuffle in the top four. It looks like Dean's going to try to take George down the inside there. I don't know if George is going to allow that or shut the door.
I think Dean went around. Royce got into but he did get around.
Yeah, he got around George Winkler for second place. So Dean Martin just moved up 2 or 3 positions there. And now he's going to go and charge after Brian McMillan and try to get around him and in the lead.
That's a perfect example of the momentum necessary out of turn 15 release. If you have a fast car and you can get out of release well, you can get a good charge down that long runway and have a chance to catch whoever's in front of you at the end of those 3,000 feet.
Well, I got to tell you, I'm proud of Brian McMillan staying out in front of this field because that's and of course, there's the TV curse again. I start talking about my friend Brian, and he got a little bit loose there, and I bet Dean Martin's going to capitalize on that. But Brian is a one-man show, and he really works hard keeping that old Fox coupe running strong, and for him to be out leading the national race is really a nice sight to see.
And that car is probably, 10, 15 years older than the car that's trailing it?
Well, the new one, the Dean's car is a 2011, and I bet Brian's is probably about an 86 or 87.
Really that old?
Yep, late 80s, early 90s.
Even a race car has got a lot of new parts there, but that car, when they stamped out the unibody, it was 20 years ago.
Yeah, that car is a Ford Fairmont under the skin, even though most of these cars have a lot of, George Winkler
is way off the track right there. He's pushing very hard, isn't he?
Dave Royce got around him.
Pushing hard is not the answer. You have to be patient, consistent, maintain momentum, and obviously stay on the track.
I think Dean's going to look for just the right opportunity here. I bet he tries to put a nice run on Brian when they come out of release.
And Brian just got a little tail happy there. Coming out of the release, there's a lot of those rumble strips, and Dean was trying to draft with him going down. I don't know if he's going to be able to catch him going into turn 1. He's moved back behind him to try to take advantage of the draft, and that Mustang. And he's closing on it, but I don't think that's enough to. Maybe it is. He looks like he had a little more momentum coming out of that turn. He's closed right up on his bumper, but it's going to be very difficult to stay in front of Dean at this point.
Well, and it's still only about 10 minutes in, so Dean doesn't want to do something rash here and throw it away. So I think he's just going to look for just the right time to get past Brian if he can.
Especially now, the beginning of this track is a lot of turns, and at the end of this track there's a lot of turns. But there's some very fast sections between 6 and 8.
And Dean just got
around him.
Just got around him. Really set him up going into that Black Rock hairpin. And I think you saw right there some superior braking ability of that newer car.
And driver.
Yeah.
Probably. It's a professional driver against a sportsman driver.
Yeah.
Although he did mention to me, we talked for a while at lunchtime, He said that there were several people here. They're considered sportsman drivers, but he said there were several here that are just as good as the drivers that he runs against in Grand Am road racing.
And that's quite a compliment. And Dean, of course, really has done a good job mentoring and taking care of the folks that are joining him for a lot of our NASA Club races. He's really an inspirational guy to them.
He does a lot of coaching with the Rehagen Racing, some professional drivers. A good friend of mine, Billy Johnson, who runs with Roush Racing now, ran with Rehagen one year and ran with in the same shot with Dean. And Dean, I asked him, did you do any coaching with Billy? And he said, no, you don't coach Billy. Billy is pretty good already.
Brian McMillan is trying to tuck in there and stay right behind Dean. He's not letting Dean get out of the sights at all. And whoa, here comes Ross Murray. He just oh no, that's Griswold, sorry.
Griswold, now look at the closing speed.
Good gravy.
Look at the closing speed. He just passed. Wow.
I think Chris just went into another time zone. I felt the earth start to spin backwards on its rotation when he hit the gas.
That's phenomenal. And American Iron Extreme. So there are guys that are competitive with him. He hasn't won every championship, and he won in 07 and 09. I asked him what happened to 08. He said a plug wire fell off, so he couldn't continue. But that car is head and shoulders above any other car that's here this weekend, outside of maybe the sports racer cars, the purpose-built race cars in Sports Unlimited, and in the Formula Mazda races. They were probably faster. But I would imagine if Chris put his mind to it, he could turn some times in the high 150s, which would be a little faster than he's going now.
Yeah, and that car started life. I remember it. A fellow named Jeremy Barrett owned it, and it was a 99 Cobra when it started. And Chris pretty much just took it all apart and started over again. And that car is really, really well engineered. You'd think that a machinist probably is able to make some pretty nice parts for it there with his G&B machine business.
Now, do you think that with Brian McMillan,
Brian McMillan, yeah.
Do you think Brian McMillan, do you think he's following Dean to try to learn a little bit about the line that he's using and maybe learn something from a professional driver?
Well, he might be getting some free coaching there, but I also think that Brian is going to keep him in his sights so he can try to get back around Dean. And here comes Griswold again. Let's see how hard he drops the hammer coming onto the front straight.
I wish we had some way of clocking the terminal down there at the end of this straight.
Dave Royce is still holding down that third position in the 59 car. George Winfrey not far off with the number 14, and Tommy Schlender is trying to work back up there. Didn't get a great start, and that seems to have really hurt him, but he's trying to work it back up there.
George Winkler, who led the American Iron category in that red Mustang, he went off the course there coming out of Tooele turn, and he is now back to fourth. And so it's Dean Martin, Brian McMillan, David Royce, George Winkler, and Tommy Schlender. Those are the top five in American Iron. Martin, our professional driver from Grand Am, is leading. He's running lap times in the 2:11 area. His teammate, David Royce, is also running about a half second slower, 2:11.8. Martin is doing around 2:11.4. Winkler is at 2:13. McMillan is at 2:12. So they are the class in the field. Tommy Schlender in American Iron, number 55. He's doing 2:11.7. So he's going to be moving up through the field if he continues to run like that.
Now, interestingly, if you look at Dave's fast time and Dean's fast time, Dave is actually 0.3 quicker for his overall fast time.
And the only other American Extreme, official American Extreme car is Jim Pantis in that red. Every so often you see that red Viper that's out there. Jim is he's running a 2:17. That's well behind the American Iron Extreme car of this group that was running 203s and would probably run 5 seconds faster than that if it was forced to.
Yeah, and Jim's actually, it's another Fox body Mustang. So it's another one of the old Mustangs, not a Viper. There's the Viper right there. That's one of the STR1 cars. That's, I think, last year's champion, Mark Alger. There goes our American Iron leaders again. Tommy Schlender's starting to catch up there. He's trying to catch Dave Royce. Challenge for a podium spot, and knowing Tommy, he wants the win too.
We can see that's Winkler there, just going out of the right of your picture.
Looks like he really slowed down on that last lap, so something may be going on with George Winkler's car. You can see the fast guys in the American Iron class are cranking off 211s pretty regularly, and they really are starting to pull away a little bit from the rest of the field.
Yeah, the top 4 in the class are all running at 211, all running on the same second.
Yeah, it's pretty tight up at the pointy end of the grid there.
Dean Martin, Brian McMillan, David Royce, and Tommy Schlender.
Looks like we have about 16, 17 minutes into our race, so we still have a lot of time left.
Let's take a break here while we find out if some guys can reel each other in, get a little racing going on here. We're at the NASA National Championships presented by Toyo Tires at Miller Motorsports Park on an extremely dry day. Some wind and some heat. It's not the best of conditions for racing, but you're seeing a lot of racing here on the track anyway. I'm Bill Wood. That's John Lindsay. We'll be right back after this.
The 2010 National Autosport Association National Championships is brought to you by Toyo Tires, driven to perform.
Quality and value, style, performance. Sure, you want it all, just don't want to spend it all. No problem. Just go with the brand voted #1 overall, Toyo Tires, for 7 of the last 9 years by people who know best. Independent tire dealers, just like me. So for top quality and top value, take it from the pros. Toyo Tires.
Well, we're back, and it looks like we've gone to a full course caution.
I don't see anything on the track that would indicate what might be the problem, but we've got a full course caution. The yellow flag's displayed at the start-finish line. That means we're probably going to see the pace car out here at some point. And I don't see anything out there. You can see it's turn 11. To the
Yeah, not sure. It may just be there was something on the track that they wanted to be able to check out with everybody under control. Looks like there was some debris out there that they had to go clean up. So they really wanted to get that field under control so we didn't have any problems with someone having to play Frogger trying to get out there and get the debris off the track. You can see the safety truck is lit up over there by the bad attitude. It's roller turn, so I think that's where they need to be going out to get that debris off the track. They really wanted to get the field under control.
You think this is real debris, or is this?
No, it looks like it's real debris. The truck is headed out there, so I don't think we do competition yellows here, but it looks like it's a real thing that they have to go out and clean off, so these guys have a clean racing surface.
It's headed towards the kink and slowing down right there.
That's right where Dean Martin went off last year, so that's a pretty high-speed section where they're really under power, so they have to make sure everything's cleaned off.
This is the NASA National Championships presented by Toyo Tires. We're at Miller Motorsports Park on an extremely dry day. This is the American Iron Extreme race. We also have the STR1, the faster of the STR category cars. Now there's also in the American Iron category, one of the top racers in the country in his class, Dean Martin, who says he actually likes doing this. He's professional driver in Grand Am road racing, and he is out here running in the American Iron category, and not because he's getting paid to, although he has a company, Rehagen Racing. He's part of Rehagen Racing. They build Mustangs, but he is out there doing it because he enjoys it.
Looks like the safety car is coming off, so they managed to get everything cleaned up. I see the emergency response truck has gone back to its post, so they got everything fixed up and are ready to go green again.
The starter is slowing him down, keeping him under control. Now he waves the green flag. That's unfair. That's unfair. Got him right to the start-finish line before he gave him the go, and still, I think he was trying to give everybody a chance to stay with Chris as long as they could, but that didn't work either because Chris has already moved out to second lead at the end of the start-finish line.
Well,
I've never seen a starter give him the green flag so late in the go. I thought he was going to force him to go around again.
Well, with a big field like that, if you go green, the rule in NASA, you don't have to wait to start passing until the start-finish line. So if you go green and everybody's back there in the corner, you might have a little bit of confusion and fender rubbing. So I think that's our good friend Joe Hayes from the Great Lakes region, and I think Joe was just being careful.
He was extremely careful. I'd never seen a guy wait that late. Chris Griswold was almost across the start-finish line. He had to look through a hole in the roof to get the green flag, see the green flag start.
Yeah, Joe did a nice job. He did it as late as humanly possible there.
So the field has been bunched up again. That gives them a chance to follow and see some more competition for everything else except for Chris. He's out running a race by himself. Again, like I said earlier, the race for him is in his helmet.
It looks like Dean Martin's closed up on Evan Gardner there. So Evan will do his best to stay out in front of Dean, but again, that rotary motor in that beautiful number 58, it doesn't have a ton of torque, so it really relies on spinning. So Evan, I think, will pull away from him, but launching out of the corners, the pony cars definitely have a little bit of advantage on the rotary.
We're 22 minutes, almost 23 minutes into a 40-minute race, so they're running the 2-minute laps. So we have maybe 9-10 laps left to go in this race, and it should be pretty close. Griswold over Alger, Evan Gardner third on the track, and second in the STR1 class. Kyle Kelly is in STR2. He is leading STR2. He was running the Camaro number 13 in the earlier today in the Super Unlimited category.
Yeah, he's running number 13 Camaro, that GT1 style car. Boy, Tommy Schlender's a happy camper. He's right back up there, and looks like the top 5 there in AI. There's George Winkler as well. They are all bunched back up again, so we'll see some great racing from that top 5 as they come through the field.
We haven't talked much about the STR1 category. Mark Alger, Evan Gardner, Troy Lindstrom, Adam McMahon. Those are the top 4. Fifth in the STR1 category is Tom Henning, car number 9. But Alger in the 4X he's pounding along pretty good, leading the STR1 category. He's running laps in the 2:01 category. That was his best time, 2:01.9. To the American Extreme, Chris Griswold, his best was almost 2 minutes flat, 2:00.081. I sure would like to see him challenged, though. I'd like to see how good a driver he is. He's obviously got the better equipment.
Well, and Chris is quite a shoot. He also races Spec Miata, and as we were talking about earlier, often the driving a little momentum car makes you a lot better when you get back up into the big car, and Chris is certainly a shining example of that.
There is a rally school, the Team O'Neill Rally School, and Tim O'Neill, who owns that in New Hampshire. I always have to stop and think about that because I always get it wrong, but it's in New Hampshire. And he told me that what he likes to do is to teach people how to drive a slow car fast. And he said the fast cars will take care of themselves, but to drive a slow car fast is how you learn how to drive. And that might be the case here, where for Chris, we're running in the Spec Miata category. He's learned how to drive a the slow car fast, and he's able to translate that to his Mustang here.
Absolutely. There go our top 4 in AI, and the rest of the field is not too far off. Looks like Ross Murray is going to come up and challenge George Winkler for that 5th position in AI. And Ross is last year's champion. But Dean Martin and Brian McMillan are having a great battle up in front of AI. Brian is just not letting Dean get any distance at all. So if Dean makes one little mistake, Brian will be right there to capitalize.
That's good for Brian, though. He's a sportsman driver. He probably does something else for a living. Dean is a guy who makes his living racing cars. So it's good when you can compare yourself as I don't want to say hobbyist, it's more than a hobby, but a sportsman driver to a pro. That's a pretty good chest-thumping accomplishment.
I agree. Brian's got to be feeling pretty good. He is absolutely righteous on feeling good about being able to hang with Dean. Oh, that looks like somebody was off there into the weeds. You can see the number.
It looks like they were pulled off there. I don't know that.
Oh, it's Robin Burnett. That's a shame. Robin is a past American Iron champion. You can see he is not happy, and it looks like the front end is caved in a little bit. And Robin Burnett, number 21, is now out of competition. That's just no fun for him at all.
He's a past champion in the category?
Absolutely, yeah.
He was having a pretty rugged time. He was 9th in the category, running 2:14 laps. So he wasn't, 2:12 was his best time. So it wasn't a good day for him as a champion. That's probably added to the frustration of not being able to finish the race.
Yeah, that's never a fun place to be. I've had a championship go up in smoke before and just sat there on the hood of the car from the behind the wall watching the season end, and that's a very, very frustrating thing to have happen.
Is that Winkler?
Winkler and Murray.
Murray.
Troy Lindstrom is coming up in that Jägermeister Silverado, getting ready to try and get by our 2 AI leaders and continue his charge in STR1.
Winkler led this category in American Iron, and he's fallen. He had a couple of off-course excursions. He has fallen back to 5th. Murray is 6th, so they're fighting for position there. And with one slower car in the way, it looks like Murray is trying to go up the inside and has made the pass.
Nice job.
Gotten around him. That was a classic sports car pass, just late braking and getting under the guy in front of you. Good job.
And Ross is a longtime friend as well, and he had tremendous success in American Sedan and SCCA. So that's a guy that knows how to drive a pony car, and he just showed you what he can do.
I don't know if Winkler's got anything to answer. Maybe some of those off-course things have maybe been a suspension or lost maybe some air in one of the tires, because now he's starting to give ground probably with some problems with the car and a little bit of crap. It's probably helped him slow down a little bit.
And Tommy Schlender is all over Dave Royce for that 3rd position, so Tommy's going to try to get on that podium and then try to go after the 2 leaders there in American Iron. We've got Dean Martin out front and Brian McMillan just behind him.
That's Martin there in number 50, and the black Mustang behind him is Brian McMillan.
Ooh, and Lindstrom came right inside McMillan, and that was a pass he had to make, but I'm sure it may have cost Brian a little momentum there. Troy actually races that truck usually in our Enduro series, so a sprint race is a little bit of an anomaly for him, but he's doing very well with it. It's got a Edelbrock crate motor in it and slicks and tube frame, so hopefully he's going to get on by Dean here and go on to do the rest of his race. And there he goes. Dean's pointing him by, saying, go on, I got things to do.
That's an STR car there, isn't it?
STR1.
Yeah.
But you can see it doesn't have tremendous horsepower because it's side by side with Dean going down the straight. So that may be a little bit of a spoiler there with Lindstrom in the mix with Dean and Brian McMillan. We'll see how that works out.
We're on the track now in the American Iron race with, 4 categories here? There's STR1, STR2, American Iron Extreme. So there are 4 categories on the track here. So there's 4 different races that are going on. When we get finished here, there'll be 4 champions in the NASA National Championships. But the closest race on the track right now is what you're looking at between Dean Martin and Brian McMillan, with that STR1 car right there in front of him. But Dean is laying down some good times and consistent times. That's the one thing about a professional driver, is the consistency that may not grown to the sportsman category, and he could hit the same mark on the track time after time and allow him to run at a very high pace time after time.
It looks like Chris Griswold found someone to play with Mark Alger there, but he just let Mark by. Now, watch this. This is kind of funny. The Viper's going to get past like it's a Chevette. Bye-bye. Good gravy.
Is that when there's no sense in racing him in a turn when you know that you could pass him that easily on the straight?
Oh, yeah, no, it's that's definitely the Chuck Norris of Mustangs there, coming down and able to lay the big chop whenever he wants it to.
Wow.
Here we have our American Iron field coming back through. Wind up, hitting into release. Still Dean Martin and Brian McMillan having a great battle. Dave Royce in third, Tommy Schlender staying there in fourth. Ross Murray a little bit farther back with an STR Corvette in between them. So it's going to be down to the wire for the podium spots here in AI, definitely.
At 74, Ross Murray has moved into fifth. So we have Martin, McMillan, Royce, Schlender, and Murray, the top 5 in the American Iron, and George Winkler, who once led the class in this race, is now falling back to 6th after a couple of off-course excursions. And there seems to be something wrong with the car, because people are kind of getting around him now, where he was commanded the race earlier.
Yeah, he may have bent something up, or, you know, again, running so hard, he may have just overheated the car and fried the tires, and they just don't want to come back. So it looks like we only have about 6 or 7 minutes left. Griswold is coming down now through the clubhouse corner, hit it in to wind up and release. So we'll see if Joe Hayes there has his white flag or not. They seem to be discussing it. So I think we'll probably have 3 more laps here.
And we haven't had many 40-minute races today for various and sundry reasons. I'm not sure why. Maybe that's something we could find out from scoring before we get finished. But these were scheduled to be 40-minute races, and the first one today was as short as 30 minutes, and the rest of them have been 35 plus. In fact, we see the white flag coming out now. The score is just the official in the flag stand has taken the white flag out, and he seems to be waiting for the leader of the race, Chris Griswold, to come around and maybe show him the final lap.
So that tells us we have 2 more laps remaining. Once we get done working this one, looks like we're working from lap 15 to lap 16 now.
So there'll be one more after.
Right.
When they wave the white flag, there'll be one more. They'll be on the final lap.
Right. It's all terminology. Looks like that might be Mike Patterson there trying to catch up. I see John Wheeler there. He's hanging in there, keeping that red and white number 81 Firebird going. Looks like he's going to come up and try to challenge for position, get the F-bodies a little farther up the order.
The American Iron, in front of the American Iron field has gone by, and we're still not, maybe I was wrong in that. Where is Chris?
Let's see, look for a blue blur somewhere, and that'll be him. Actually, he's just coming through Tooele turn. They're headed down into clubhouse right now. So they will come down to the clubhouse corner, get into wind up through release, and then we'll have our white flag and 1 more to
go. That Viper has just gone around him. Passed him in 14. Is he looking?
Right, but as they say in the southern part of the country, hey, y'all, watch this.
So let's see. Maybe it's just a
bye-bye.
Maybe it's just a chance. They've given him the white flag and the yellow. Is that the yellow flag is standing by the flag stand?
Yeah, we've got a standing yellow. We've got car number 35 off at the access road.
So that's
just
not
beyond
for
that.
they still are going to let them continue racing for the rest of the lap, right?
Right. The only thing is how the rules are written in NASA. It won't make the whole front straight a yellow zone. It's yellow up to the point of the incident, which in this case will be that stopped car. So,
well, is that going to have an impact on that last pass that Griswold made over Mark Alger?
I don't believe it will, because I think they hadn't gotten the yellow out before he came on through. So
that'll be interesting to see how that works, because I think they did, and we'll see how that flies. So we've had the white flag. We're on the final lap. Chris Griswold, Mark Alger, and Troy Lindstrom, top three on the track. Griswold is leading American Iron Extreme. They just flipped Alger. Alger was leading Griswold when he went under the start-finish line, but Griswold has passed him again. So unless there's something else somewhere else on the track, Griswold should still, he's the class of the field, he should still win, and he is going to win the American Iron Extreme and be the champion. He wouldn't let Alger win the race, since Chris is already won in the his category, right?
Right. Well, then here comes Chris right now. And I think he really wanted to be out front in P1 overall. So we'll see if he just comes up right behind Mark here and then boots the turbo and off he goes.
They're going into the last turn right now. He's got to get a little closer to him than that.
Well, let's see if Chris is going to let Mark have it. Yep, Mark's going to let Mark have P1. Chris Griswold has now won yet another American Iron Extreme Championship. Jim Panis was not far behind him in second place.
That was curious. That was very curious. You think Alger had some problems, like maybe loss of power in the turbo or something?
Well, you never know. Chris may just be trying to save the motor there. We're not sure. But Dean Martin is still continuing to lead that AI field as he is coming into the final parts of this 2010 NASA National Championship race. Coming out of Tooele Turn, this is the one that bit Dean last year. I guarantee it's not going to bite him again this year.
That's how far away that we've already had the front of the field cross the start-finish line. That's how far in front they were from that's the Extreme and American Iron Extreme versus the American Iron category.
All right, let's see if Brian McMillan tries to make one last run at Dean Martin here to try to get back in front and take that first place away from Dean, but I think Dean has it here.
He's coming onto the front straight now. Dean is going to win his American Iron Championship.
Well done. Third place, Dave Royce. And there's Ross Murray, last year's champion, in fourth. But really just absolute congratulations to Brian McMillan for a fantastic drive against an incredible driver. So, Brian, really proud of you there, buddy. You did a great job to take second place in American Iron.
So we've got some more national championships here in NASA. The NASA National Championships presented by Toyo Tires. Those are that's the overall.
It's the American Iron Extreme.
American Iron Extreme. That's right. We added all those extra CMC cars that were bumping around in the back of the field. But Chris Griswold won the American Iron Extreme Championship. Jim Pantis was second, a lap down, it would appear. James Ray, Kent Charms, you can see
Ken Owens, Mark Adams, Eric Jodlam, Dave Belinget, and they have Paul Brown listed, but I don't think Paul showed up this weekend, so that may be a goof.
All right, that's Dean Martin in the American Iron, Brian McMillan, David Royce, Ross Murray, Michael Patterson, Tommy Schlinder. Those are the American Iron finishers. Good ride, like you said, by Dean Martin and Brian McMillan.
The 2010 National Autosport Association National Championships is brought to you by Toyo Tires, driven to perform.
Quality and value. Style. Performance. Sure, you want it all. You just don't want to spend it all. No problem. Just go with the brand voted #1 overall, Toyo Tires. For 7 of the last 9 years by people who know best. Independent tire dealers, just like me. So for top quality and top value, take it from the pros. Toyo Tires.